Hi, Steve.
Hey, Mayor.
Evening.
Good evening. Mr. Nollop, how are things looking? Good? All right, thank you, Mike.
Have you gone down, Liz, to see how our trees are doing down at Cook Park?
You know, I haven't. I should go visit them.
I was gonna go by there tomorrow. Like, oh, I wonder our little.
See how they're doing.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Councilor Goodhouse.
That was a good meeting last night on the fields. I was excited about the opportunities there. That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Could be good. We got all the.
It was short.
Yeah, short. We got all the CDBG community development block grants rated last week. So fingers crossed for Just Compassion.
Right.
And the other project in Tigard that escapes me now, Reach. Yeah, that one.
Let's see. Do we have Youth Councilor Nog? Okay. Oh, there she is. Youth Councilor Nog, I wasn't sure if your notification last night might have transitioned over to tonight, but you're able to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. My computer had a bit of like a lag when it was loading, but I'm here.
Good. Thank you. Mr. Nollop, let me know when we're ready to go. All right, I will call this Tigard City Council, Local Contractor Review Board, and Town Center Development Agency meeting to order. City Recorder Krager, please call roll.
Councillor Shaw. Councillor Shaw.
She's trying to get
Here.
unmuted.
Trying to get here.
All right. Mayor Snyder.
Here.
Youth Councillor Nog.
Here.
Councillor Goodhouse.
Here.
Councillor Newton.
Here.
Council President Lube.
Here.
All right. Let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Nollop, would you please put the flag up on the screen, and I'll ask everyone to mute and participate on your own. All right. Thank you, Mr. Nollop. Any council or staff have non-agenda items? I know the city manager would like to do an introduction for our new finance director, but are there any other items besides that one? All right. City Manager Reimer.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, members of the community, and my teammates that are on tonight. I'm excited to introduce Cindy Trimp to all of you, as well as our community, as our new, finance director. Cindy has been with us now for 2 days, and so she is starting to get to meet her teammates and some of our priorities and our processes. And so with that, I'd just like, once again, to introduce her to all of you and let Cindy introduce herself as well. So Cindy.
Good evening, Mayor Snyder and members of the council. My name is Cindy Trimp, and as Steve mentioned, I'm on day 2 working for the city of Tigard and the citizens of Tigard. I look forward to working with you all. I've spent the last 2 days just wrapping my mind around the budget, which is moving very quickly and with a very tight deadline. However, This is my first go around with working with budget, so I'm ready to go, just digging in as quickly as I can. I look forward to working with you all during this next budget process, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions as we work our way through this next budget cycle. Again, thanks. I'm ready to answer any questions. Thank you.
Well, Cindy, welcome to the community. On behalf of all of our residents and the council, I want to welcome you to the city, and we're excited to have you. So we will get to know each other very well soon, working with the entire council. So thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
And sorry about the barking. Someone's bringing in their yard debris bin. Okay, we're going to move on to public comments. Anyone that wants to make public comment is going to be able to do so by phone at 503-966-4101, and those with general comments should call now to get in queue. Again, 503-966-4101. We'll go to any follow-up to previous public comment. Assistant City Manager Nyland, any follow-up?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. At the January 11th Council meeting, we did receive 4 comments from community members. We had a person asking to increase frequency for recycling. We had someone submit their thoughts about breaks in service, and we provided an update about next steps in the process and that conversation. We responded to the community member who commented about Rudy Hill, which is a land use case and could come before council. And the last comment we received was regarding construction and access to our parks. We shared that email with the appropriate departments and also shared the Parks and Rec system plan with that constituent so they can learn more about our park program. So I know you guys are eagerly waiting for my fun fact. So in addition to today marking the beginning of Black History Month, it is also Lunar New Year. Some fun facts about that festivity. So the date changes every year. This is because it follows the lunar calendar based on the movement of the moon. 1/6 of the world's population celebrates this occasion. Decorations are mostly in red, and you often see red envelopes given as gifts. The celebration lasts for 15 days until the Lantern Festival begins. The Chinese Zodiac, a system that has existed in Chinese culture for more than 2,000 years, dictates which animal represents a given year. This cycle repeats every 12 years. 2022 is the year of the tiger, and as we all know, every year is the year of tiger. Thank you. See what I did there? That's it for my report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And City Recorder Krager, we did not have any written public comment by noon today, correct?
That's correct. We didn't receive any.
Okay. And we'll move to phone-in public comment. Mr. Nolip, do we have any callers in the queue?
Mr. Mayor, no callers in the queue at this time.
All right. We'll move on to item number 3 on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. And we have both City Council and Local Contract Review Board actions here. Consent agenda is used for routine items, including minutes and approval of contracts or intergovernmental agreements. Information on each item is available on the city's website. In the packet for this meeting, these items may be enacted in one motion without separate discussion. Council members may request that an item be removed by motion for discussion and separate action. Tonight, we are considering a contract award for the Murdoch Street sidewalk and stormwater improvements on the consent agenda. Is there a motion or questions? Council President Lube.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, City Recorder, roll call vote, please.
Councillor Shaw,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder,
Yes.
Councillor Goodhouse,
Yes.
Councillor Newton,
Yes.
Council President Lube.
Yes.
All right, consent agenda is approved unanimously. Thank you. And we are now going to convene as the Town Center Development Agency, meeting with the Town Center Advisory Commission. And with that, I will hand over, I think, to start to Mr. Sean Fairley.
Good evening, Chair Snyder and the directors of the Town Center Development Agency. My name is Sean Fairley. I'm the redevelopment project manager and also the liaison to the Town Center Advisory Commission. And tonight we have our annual joint meeting of the Town Center Advisory Commission and the board of the TCDA. Some quick background for those who may be watching in the audience. TCAC are a group of dedicated volunteers who provide advice on tax increment financing district issues, including budget, policy, and implementation. And in Tigard, we have two voter-approved tax increment financing districts. That's the Tigard Triangle, the large one outlined in red, and the city center, the smaller one outlined in kind of green, brown there. And I'll leave it at that, and I'll leave plenty of time for the TCAC to go through their report from last year and their goals for this year. And I will turn it now over to Tom Murphy, who is the newly elected chair of the TCAC. Take it away, Tom.
Thank you, Sean. Mr. Mayor, members of the TCDA board, good evening, and thank you for meeting with us. By way of beginning, we'd like to take a brief look back. Ryan Ruggiero, who is our immediate past chair, will address this commission's report to the TCDA for calendar year 2021. Ryan?
Thank you, Tom. Mayor Snyder, TCDA board of directors, it's very nice to be with you. Thank you for meeting with us this evening. 2021 was a challenging year, I think we can all safely say. And, you know, as a commission, we did the best we could to further the goals of the city and of our own commission. And I think we did a pretty solid job. We struggled with online meetings, as all of us have been for going on 2 years now. But we were able to accomplish some meaningful things. And, you know, you're going to hear more later about our goals for 2022. But really, they represent a continuation of goals that we've had as a commission and as a city for a long time. And, you know, we were squarely focused around 3 real areas of emphasis, which hopefully you were able to read about in the report that we submitted in December. And those are basically affordable housing, equitable business development, and connectivity and transit within the city, within the Tiff district specifically. So as you would expect, our goals for the coming year are reflective of our interest in continuing to do the work moving forward. And you know, we've had some exciting projects that have continued to develop amidst the pandemic and all of the challenges that it has brought. And there are a lot of things to be excited about, certainly. We've had a lot of interest in our development assistance program in the Tigard Triangle, with projects coming in the door seemingly on a monthly basis. And just a lot of interest and continued demand for the resources that the TCDA approves and that we as a commission recommend to you. Notable among those is the REACH project, which didn't make it into the annual report because we only heard about it at a presentation at our meeting in December. But we did, as you know, recommend that the TCDA board recommend the $1 million grant request. And that project is a very meaningful project, directly aligned with our goals around affordable housing. The project will generate 85 units of affordable housing, very much needed in our community. we're very excited about that, and we're excited to close out the year with a big, important commitment like that. So thank you for your support of that project also. Downtown, we have a lot to be excited about. We've got Main Street, Green Street, Phase 2, kicking into high gear this year. The AVA project is hopefully realigning itself and getting on track for implementation this year. And Universal Plaza, of course, kind of the keystone of what's happening downtown right now. The Nick Wilson Plaza is going to, enter the planning and design phase this year. That's an exciting project. So there are a lot of things to be thankful for and grateful for. We also were pleased, of course, to see the passage of the substantial amendment by voters in the spring election. So that, I think really refueled our tank in terms of just the commitment from the community to back the work we're doing and the investments that we're making and will continue to make over time. So that affirmation of the vision, I think, is really noteworthy and something we should all take pride in and just pause and reflect and be grateful that the citizens of our community have really put their faith in us to carry this work forward. Moving forward, we definitely want to continue to support the goals as outlined in the Triangle Equitable Urban Renewal Implementation Strategy Plan, kind of a mouthful, but there it is, as well as the Tiger Development Strategy Updated 5-year Plan for downtown. And of course, ongoing support for the Capital Improvement Plan for downtown overall. We're also very excited to be infused with some new energy. We have several new members joining the commission this year. And under Tom's excellent leadership, I have nothing but high hopes for what lies ahead. So I just want to thank you all for your ongoing support of our work and for continuing to reiterate and articulate the vision that we all have for our community and for the 2 TIF districts specifically. And I also just want to call out the great ongoing work of Sean and Joe, who support the commission. We're really lucky to have them. Everything in our meetings is seamless and smooth. And yeah, just really grateful for everything they do. So with that, I'm going to pass it. Well, first of all, ask if there are any questions, either regarding the annual report or anything I've just kind of mentioned here.
Ryan, I just want to thank you for your steady leadership during a very difficult time of this group, and really, making sure that all the work that's being done on the TCAC is reflective of our community values and vision and what we all want to see in the future of our community. So thank you for that. I know it's not easy, and it's really not been easy in 2021. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. I'm happy to serve. It's a pleasure.
Councillor Newton, did you have a question for Ryan or a comment?
I just wanted to comment sort of along the lines of what you just said, Mr. Mayor. In reading the annual report and everything the community went through in 2021, I was just struck with how the members of the TCAC, you're the ones that keep the momentum going. You're the ones that keep the eye on the ball. And I just was reading through everything that you've accomplished. I'm on the Community Development Block Grant Policy Advisory Board. We reviewed REACH last week for some CDBG funding. So I just want to thank you all, the members of the commission, for the work that you do in keeping the visions that we have for these 2 areas going. And I think the momentum that we have going is in large thanks to all of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Newton. And yeah, let's hear more about what lies ahead. Tom, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Ryan, as always. Sean, could we have slide 2, please? Our aspirational goal is our overarching vision for 2022. It tracks closely with our aspirational goal for 2021. Sean, slide 3. And on to slide 4. The same is true of our three proposed areas of emphasis. They're modeled on those that were guided us last year. We've learned that achieving true progress within our TIF districts is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Some of the best projects are long-term in their planning and implementation. I think the Universal Plaza has to be considered Exhibit A for that proposition. It figured prominently, or the concept of a downtown gathering space figured prominently in the 2007 Leland report. Consequently, continuity from year to year in our work is essential. We want to build on the excellent work that has gone before. And yet, conditions in our TIF districts and throughout our community do not remain static. Nowhere is this more evident than with the challenges of housing. Justin Watson will address our first area of emphasis, that is affordable housing and houselessness. Justin?
Hi there, my name is Justin Watson. I've worked with the TCAC for 3 years now as an ex officio member. Sorry, I am having, okay. And thank you for having us tonight. I also sit on the board of directors for the Community Partners for Affordable Housing. I bring to the commission advocacy in the areas of lived experience, equitable urban development, affordable housing development and planning, as well as small business management. The commission maintains the endeavor to advocate for stakeholders throughout Tigard's downtown and Triangle TIF districts where necessary, but to learn the needs of participating stakeholders in order to identify the opportunities of assisting and to ultimately minimize unforeseen constraints that may exist within each district. A lot of focused research has already been supported by both the council and city staff, so it is the commission's stated goal to refer to existing studies and assessments to be informed where appropriate. The 2022 TCAC Commission will also aspire to recommend specific programs and innovative policies to city staff and the city council that directly affect, support, and encourage the development of and the preservation of affordable housing forms in the downtown and the Triangle area. As you may know, there are some properties that are needing this preservation advocacy in the Tigard areas. Where there's a role for dirt, sticks, and bricks and/or permanent improvements to land and measuring to provide shelter for the unhoused, the Commission's new and expanded final goal in this area of emphasis is to support the City Council's and private entities' response to the houselessness crisis. Thank you for having us. I appreciate everything you do. Back to Tom.
Thank you very much, Justin. Next, Adrian Hinckley will address our second area of emphasis, equitable business development. Adrian?
Good evening, everyone, council members and team here. Thank you for having us. Want to get into equitable business. As we know, it's been challenging, to say the least, for businesses across the country. But I believe that we have opportunities and want to support our Tigard businesses, small and large, and come at it from any angle we can find to support our businesses. And so as the commission, we've outlined that advocation for affected stakeholders and learn about and research the needs, identify the opportunities and constraints within each district to better support equitable business development, We will support the implementation of multi-language resources by city staff, recommend city-specific programs and policies to city staff and TCDA that directly affect, support, and encourage equitable business development in downtown and in the Tigard Triangle. I believe that together we all can post-pandemic era and moving forward, really do more than just return to business as usual, right? And come at it from, like I said, innovative and stand head and shoulders above as a community, supporting our businesses so that we are all doing extremely well moving forward. So I want to thank you all. And with that, I'll give it back to Tom.
Thank you, Adrian. Our third area of emphasis is connectivity and transit. Elise Shearer will address this. Elise chaired the commission back in the before time when there was only the downtown district and we were the city center advisory commission. Elise is our transportation advocate. She is a veteran of the Southwest Corridor battles. Elise, yours.
Thank you, Tom, for that introduction. Mr. Mayor and members of the TCDA board, thank you for meeting with us tonight. As we attempt to identify, prioritize, and recommend opportunities for development that improve living and working, foster walkability, and promote equity, we sit and talk in our meetings about what we can do as a commission and seeking out and supporting businesses that fill vacancies in the downtown Tigard area, as well as activate up to 18 hours a day, we hope, in the Tigard downtown, as well as the Tigard Triangle, we believe will make each of those urban renewal districts vibrant. We want to continue, of course, support of affordable housing organizations because they bring equity into the housing equation, which all of our supportive developers recognize. And market rate housing, unless it's affordable market rate housing, can be unreachable for many. We would like to continue building on our relationships with those developers as the city continues to build out the Tigard Triangle streets and infrastructure, which are so important to making this area successful. I'm also very excited about Main Street, Green Street Phase 2, finally happening. Yay. It's been a long time coming. Okay, and then now the next goal of promoting ongoing efforts towards multimodal connectivity within and between the TIF districts. We do know that our area is divided not only by major highway, but by rail lines. And those two districts, we're trying to find ways besides hoping and waiting for Southwest Corridor to hopefully be fulfilled. And this only points towards expensive options available for us. So we need to find other ways. After talking to Jennifer Kuzer at Metro, I realized that Southwest Corridor will not be viable until we find local match funding for whatever the federal government is willing to put up for our project. The federal transportation infrastructure bill could help us, but we have to find that local match funding. Okay, we want to continue to support building on bike ped safety with increasing trails and increasing bike lanes and road improvements everywhere. And the infrastructure bill actually set aside $11 billion in a Safe Streets for All programs that will support this effort. And hopefully our city will be able to access that through some of the grants. In support of Tigard's vision plan, we want to continue to expand on our trail system and make visible connections, providing access not only between the two districts, but around the Tigard Triangle, and give our new Tigard Triangle residents a place to live, work, and recreate within their own immediate neighborhood, which happens to be the size of downtown Portland. Our commission would like to continue studying options for crossings that connect the two TIF districts. Besides the potential flyover ramp that Southwest Corridor was hoping to build, we need to look at other options. So in the meantime, since all these options are so expensive, building out the walking trails and bicycle lanes will provide the most promise. But one of the things we can look at as a commission is finding a way to pursue a bike ped only rail crossing at the end of Wall Street. And there is a grant program available through the infrastructure bill that is called Reconnecting Communities, and $1 billion was set aside to help communities that are divided by rail lines and highways. I am hoping that we can look into that as a city and pursue more information. And if money wasn't a problem, I say let's build a tunnel under Oregon 217. But of course, money is a problem, and I don't think our ODOT engineers would like that proposal. So thank you very much, and I'd like to turn the slide back over to the next person. Take it away, Sean.
Thank you, Elise. The formation of work groups is not about what we want to do, but how we hope to do it. You may recall that in 2021, the TCAC formed 3 standing committees, one for each of our areas of emphasis. As noted in the annual report, results of the subcommittee approach were, shall we say, mixed. We're going to try a somewhat different approach this year. As issues arise that require more intense work than monthly meetings can permit, we intend to form task-specific groups to analyze and report back to the Commission with recommendations as appropriate. We'll let you know in early 2023 how that approach has worked. Our final 2 goals relate to the particular needs of each of our TIF districts. Kate Rogers preceded Ryan as the TCAC chair. Kate will address the goals pertaining to the downtown and Triangle TIF districts. Kate?
Hello, Mayor, City Council people. It's hard to believe that this is the beginning of my 6th year on the TCAC, and I cannot begin to tell you how much I have enjoyed and how much this has inspired me to participate in the city of Tigard. And so I am honored to be able to talk a little bit about the goals for first the downtown Tigard TIF district. Obviously our areas of emphasis, affordable housing, houselessness, equitable business development, connectivity, and transit also are a part of this goal. But we are very excited as we look forward to the implementation of the updated 5-year plan, as well as this next year beginning to work on the downtown reimagining project. We are also very happy to see projects that are beginning to come to fruition. Elise mentioned Main Street, Green Street, and we also have Universal Plaza, senior housing. We also are looking at the Ava Roasteria project actually beginning to break ground and become a reality. So we are monitoring these projects and working towards their completion. We're also looking at downtown parking because there's nothing that people like to discuss more than parking or the lack thereof. And so we continue to make that a focus of Tigard. It's a great problem for us to have. Years back, we didn't have much of a problem with people finding a parking place in downtown Tigard, and we do now, and that's a wonderful place to be. We also are looking to recruit and support business owners and businesses for the vacant places in downtown, especially in lower downtown as we will complete the Main Street, Green Street project, hopefully breathing life into that part of the downtown area. Sean, next slide. For the Tigard Triangle TIF district, as you know, we have projects that are identified for the years 2020 through 2025, and we will continue to support and shepherd those through the process. But again, we're really looking to recruit and support diverse business owners and businesses in the Tigard Triangle. This is an opportunity to make sure that local businesses get the opportunity that the Triangle presents. We want to make sure that everyone can participate. Another thing that we're very concerned about is property for parks and for the trail system, whether that's a large park like Cook Park or small pocket parks, little open areas of green. That's going to be key, especially as the density begins to increase in the Tigard Triangle. We want to make sure that there are places for people to get out and enjoy the sunshine or the rain or be out in nature. And we want to be sure that the residents and the business owners are aware of the Tigard Opportunity Fund. Again, we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to participate in all of the development that is going on in the Tigard Triangle. So those are the areas that we'll really be looking at over the next year for both the Tigard Triangle and the downtown TIF districts. And Tom, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Kate. Mr. Mayor, board members of the TCDA, the purpose of the TCAC, our reason for existing, is to support and assist you in your capacity as the development board for our TIF districts in developing the vision for those districts and in bringing that vision to a reality. We would welcome your guidance on how we can best fulfill our role, including any comments on or questions about our proposed goals.
Thank you, Tom. And we'll open it up to the council. And I think we always want to know what you need from us too. So I know you've shared some, but I'll make sure that we make that ask, which is customary of me or Council President Lube if I forget. So council, who's got questions or comments, discussion? And then Tom, are there other members of the commission that might want to speak tonight or maybe help answer questions? I don't know, but I just want to make sure everybody's included. So Council President Lube, you've got a question or comment?
Yeah, it's really just a comment. And I think it's incredible, especially looking at the annual report, just the absolute level and amount of work that is y'all do every year, and the focus and the care that you take. It's really incredible, the work that this committee board does. And I'm so thankful that all of you are serving and that you care about your community and the future of your community. And thank you for your expertise and your wisdom and your advice and recommendations. It's just an incredible job advising us, and thank you for your time.
Other questions, Councillor Newton?
Yeah, boy, a lot of exciting things to look forward to. That's a great report and a lot you've got on your plate. Maybe this isn't the time to go into detail, but I'm interested in the business recruitment aspects for both areas, and I'm going to assume that you're working fairly closely with the economic development group at the city as appropriate. And just want to encourage as you're moving forward in that, if there's anything additional or support that you need from us to help that move forward, because I know that that's going to be an important component for both areas as we move forward. And I am looking forward to the discussion on parking. Looking forward to that in the downtown. So, and also, I guess the other area is the parks in the Triangle area. That will, if there's anything that direction or further discussion you want to have with the board here, I think I would encourage you to let us know. Thanks, and thanks for all your efforts.
Any response on that, Tom, or anyone on the commission? Councillor, oh, sorry, Tom.
Just to say quickly in regard to the business recruitment aspect, we do, of course, bump up against the limitation that TIF dollars can be spent only on dirt, sticks, and bricks. However, that does not lessen our interest in what goes on within and upon that property. And Lloyd Purdy was kind enough to visit our one of our meetings last year to update us on efforts for business recruitment. And so there definitely is an ongoing dialogue on that front.
It looks like Elise may have wanted to add as well.
Thank you. Trying to get my camera turned on here. There we go. The business recruitment portion, Lloyd was very informative last year, and we hope to invite him back to speak to us. We know that restaurants, food brings people into the downtown up to 18 hours a day, and helps to, if we could activate some more restaurants at the north end of Main Street and spread the parking out. That way we could invite other international type businesses into the area, and that would help build our equity as a city. So if you have any international restaurants that you like, please go out and ask them to consider coming to Tigard. We need a lot more. It would be nice to be able to eat around the world in downtown. Thank you.
It's a good vision. Thank you, Elise. Mm-hmm. Councillor Shaw. And your sticky mute button. There you go.
Sticky mute button. I too am envisioning eating around the world. So thank you. Thank you for the report. Very informative. Had a couple of questions following along the same lines, or maybe just comments with Councillor Newton. And that I note with the affordable housing and houselessness, there seems to be some overlap, perhaps even with chart. And I'm wondering, so we're not being duplicative or repetitive, there's ways that there could be some at least correspondence or linkages there. And then I had a question with regards to the last bullet, what it said, support the city's councils and private entities response. I was curious what private entities means. And then also just reiterating, I do hope that the economic and businesses working with Lloyd, and again, that there's not going to be duplicative efforts there. And also curious if there could be some KPIs attributed to the 3 different areas. That way we know at the end of the year it's measurable, it's not repetitive, but happy to have anyone answer that, or if you want to come back with answers later too. I know there's some deep questions there.
I would like to respond just momentarily, saying that the private entities basically mean all the nonprofits and churches in the area that are working on resources and housing for our houselessness issue. And there are many organizations participating, and then the Tigard resource page lists many of those organizations as a way to get help. So
yeah, I'm familiar with those. Thank you. I just had never heard them called private entities before. So clarification appreciated. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Youth Councillor Nog.
I just wanted to say that this was a very thorough and thoughtful presentation. One of my questions regarding the codes for parking, one of the questions that I had was regarding the codes for parking and multi-household complexes. And I was wondering if there would be implementation of electrical vehicle charging stations or whether or not that would be feasible.
Sean, do you want to respond to that? Or I don't know if other staff?
Sure. So the parking effort that's underway currently is to deal with parking in our downtown, looking at the small amount of parking that the city actually controls. That is our on-street supply and our two small public lots, and then looking at the private lots as well. So in terms of what Youth Councillor Nog was asking about the electric charging stations, there are some. There's one at our public lot off Burnham, and we have a couple on city lots. Those are being provided more and more. We don't have currently any code that requires those, but it's seeming like developers are wanting to put those in now in response to the demand of the tenants.
Youth Councillor Nog, there's also state efforts and state legislation in that area that, frankly, Councillor Shaw is probably more up on than me, but I know that there's multiple efforts being pushed in Salem on that front too.
And if I may add to a $7.5 billion endeavor from the Investment Infrastructure Act at the federal level, which a good portion is going to each state to implement charging as well, including electric corridors and charging for parking spots.
Youth Councillor Nog, anything further? Did you? All right. Tom, it looks like both Tom and Ryan may have some things to add, so let's do that before we go to Councillor Goodhouse.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. Councillor Shaw, I wanted to respond to a couple of points you made. First off, in terms of the risk of getting siloed in our efforts to address houselessness, I strongly agree with you. That should not be permitted to happen, and so I'd like to find out with whom we should liaise to see to it that anything that the TCAC is undertaking on the houselessness front is coordinated and discussed with CHART. Also, on the score of measurables for evaluating performance on the goals, excellent idea. And we have discussed that concept in regard to the performance of sub-goals, but overall identifying benchmarks for purposes of evaluation, we need to drill down on that further, and we will.
Thank you, Tom.
Ryan, did you have something to add as well?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Snyder. I just wanted to respond to Councillor Newton's point about acquisition of parkland in the Triangle. As someone who does parkland acquisition for a living, I can say there may be nothing more important right now than securing meaningful park sites in natural areas within the Triangle. We're in an extremely volatile real estate market right now, as I think most people recognize. And it's hard to say what the next 5 to 10 years will look like, but any opportunities to secure those resources, I would encourage the TCDA to support those to the fullest extent possible, and potentially even providing additional funding, knowing that sellers are really demanding extremely high prices right now. But I would hate to see the opportunity lost. And the Red Rock Creek Regional Trail recently got a RFFA grant from Metro for planning and design. That's a really important trail asset within the Triangle that I think, just it needs to be realized in the long term. And so I just appreciate that comment. And yeah, I just think it's an extremely important but very long-term need that the Triangle will have to ensure that it's livable and a desirable place to live. So thank you.
Councillor Goodhouse.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the TCAC is a great group. I get the pleasure of every month sitting in and listening to their conversations and all the things they talk about. One point that was mentioned about the businesses and so forth, that's something that I've been talking with City Manager Reimer, and I think in the next month or two, we're going to have a business discussion on that. As I see, that's a huge thing I heard when I was doing the interviews for the TCAC was that people think there's a lot of empty businesses or buildings downtown Tigard, and so they're concerned about that, or they want to see a lot more restaurants or places they can go. And right now we don't currently have a plan or a list of items that we want. So something that should be coming back to council, and hopefully when we do a business discussion on that, a business meeting, hopefully the TCAC can be part of that one as well, part of that meeting, which would be great. But yeah, I think that they have a lot of good ideas. There's a lot to do in there. And I agree with what Ryan was saying is in the Triangle is something that we should focus on as a city as well. Before that gets too developed, buy some of those lands for park, plazas, or walking trails, because if that's going to build up more, it's either going to be hard to do that, or it's going to be all built out and you can't get those parks and trails in there. So it's important for us to look at that and get those taken care of soon and map out those areas.
All right, thank you, Councillor Goodhouse. Tom, did you have your hand up again?
Yes, I did, Mayor Snyder. I wanted to acknowledge the extremely valuable contribution that Councillor Goodhouse makes to the TCAC by consistently attending our meetings and providing guidance to us on the perspective of both this board and of City Council. Mayor Snyder, you earlier invited us to communicate with you and with council in regard to what do we need. I can tell you that we get that in real time from Councillor Goodhouse.
Excellent. That is good to hear. And I think the comment about and discussion that's just happened on parkland in the Triangle, probably City Manager Reimer, I guess I'm looking at Sean. I feel like this is kind of a big picture action that I agree we need to act on, and a decisive. I know we've had some discussion, but I think the entire group on multiple fronts is right on this point, and we need to act now, even if it's more expensive than we want it to be, because it's going to be more expensive and more difficult soon in the future, and we just can't fail to act on this. I mean, for the Triangle to be livable and the kind of place that people want to be 18 hours a day, we've got to have that kind of stuff and those amenities. So I don't view it as optional, and I just feel like we got to kick it into high gear on that.
I agree, Mr. Mayor, and we do have some current discussions that are ongoing.
Okay. Well, let's put it into overdrive if it wasn't already. And we'll have to find the money. I mean, that's the other thing I'll say is if resources are the issue, we got to figure it out, because failing to act is just going to cost even more later. So not a choice in my mind. Okay. Tom, Tom, and Sean, does that conclude your presentation and joint meeting?
I believe it does, Mr. Mayor, unless there's anything further from any other members of the board or any other TCAC members.
I'll throw out a wild idea. I've said this, it's been a few years, and I'm not sure I said it in this context, but when I think about a fast way to get from, to the point that our town centers are not connected. I know this only works in one direction potentially, but I actually think, again, you can call this wild, crazy Mayor Snyder tonight. But I think a zip line for now, between the triangle into downtown is actually something that may sound kind of laughable, but I think probably should be considered for moving people quickly. I know it only goes one direction, but I think it's viable, or should at least be seriously considered. Elise, did you want to respond to that, or was that an errant hand?
I love the idea of a zip line. I was going to propose that we could have a shuttle between the downtown Tigard area to the Triangle District somehow. But of course, that's a new employee and lots of capital expense. So I like the zip line better.
Well, it only goes one direction. It'd be very hard to go the other direction from downtown into the Triangle, but there'd be a lot of height involved in that. But so you're talking about like a circulator type of transit type of connection? Okay. Well, there, Wilsonville, other communities locally, I think even Tualatin has something like that. So those are certainly things we should be thinking about as we get more dense. I think it'd be hard to sustain right now just with the amount of use it would get, but that will change over time, and putting it in place may help make it change. So got to consider thinking about all those things. I only mentioned the zip line because I think it's sustainable now. Like it wouldn't, if it's not in use, it's not super expensive to operate, et cetera. But just a wild, crazy idea from your mayor here. What can I say? All right, we are going to reconvene as the city council now. Thank you. I want to thank the TCAC for being here today and for your commitment to the community. I know others mentioned that, but thank you. And we will move on. We have no non-agenda items. City Manager Reimer, do you have an administrative report?
Absolutely, Mayor and Councilors. I also want to thank the CCAC. That was a great report. Obviously, very involved group that's supporting all of our efforts. And thanks to Sean and Lloyd and Kenny and Dylan and others that are involved in this as well. Just a follow up on that. We are scheduled for February 22nd for Lloyd to bring forward an economic development update to the City Council that Councilor Goodhouse was referencing. And so we'll make sure the TCAC is aware of that as well. Our intent is just to bring forward an update of what we're doing and get some guidance from the City Council on where you'd like us to put our efforts moving forward. So just an update on that. I also want to say thank you to the City Council as well as the Tigard-Tualatin School Board and the City of Tualatin councilors and mayor for attending the meeting last night that Councilor Newton referenced at the beginning. We too thought it was a really good meeting for us to hear all of your thoughts and to get the support to take those next steps. And so the team is actively working on those next steps already, and we will keep that process going forward so all of you and the other two elected bodies can stay in sync in this as we kind of work through this with some urgency so we start to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us. A couple other things. Our partners at the Housing Authority of Washington County are going to start some of the renovation of our properties here in Tigard. It's the Ridge at Bull Mountain and the Bonita Villa Apartments. It's going to be $26 million worth of renovations. We're very appreciative. I know the council's appreciative, the community's appreciative of this investment being made into the asset, into the homes of many people that live here, as well as looking at wrapping some of the facilities and improving the exteriors to ensure that the assets are maintained in affordable status for years to come. So great projects that will be starting here in about mid-April or so. There will be some resident relocation as part of that, and the county is working closely with everyone to make sure they understand the process that's going to be moving forward. Unfortunately, on another major project that's been referenced multiple times from the TCAC, is we've learned that the Main Street improvements are going to be delayed for a while. We don't know exactly the extent, but we are having supply chain issues, specifically with some of our pipe material that we need. And so it's key, obviously the pipes are going to go in before some of the finishings that everyone's going to see. And so right now our team, as well as the contractors, are working on this, and I'll keep the council and community in the downtown up to date. We are reaching out to the downtown already, making sure the businesses are aware of this. It's an unfortunate delay, but at the same time, we need to kind of work through and see how we can manage through this and try to get the supplies that we need so we can get the project going. A couple other things from our library, our active library. Our mobile museum is now on view in the library backyard. And this is a partnership that we have with the Five Oaks Museum and the leadership of our community development and library teammates. The display is going to be, it's going to be on display from February 1st and through the end of March. The exhibit is called Displace, and it shines a light on the connection between Hawaii, the Pacific Northwest, and the communities that continue to flow between and have impact really the culture of where we all live. And so since the culture and industry since 1787. And so that'll be an exciting opportunity for our community. We also, it's time for tax season, as all of you are aware. And so we will have our tax support happening in a safe environment at the library as well. We're taking appointments now. And then finally, we are going to have a teen winter reading competition. And so the teens are going to, will get a free book, and they'll compete in virtual teams to read the most pages. And so this is going to happen now through February 28th, so for the entire month. And just another way of encouraging all the reading and the different things that we do at the library. So with that, that concludes my remarks. And thank you again for a nice meeting tonight.
And Steve, I will just emphasize that I know you'd highlighted a couple of weeks ago about all public school students in TTSD receiving library cards in Tigard, and I didn't realize one of my 3 children didn't have one, and it arrived in the mail from the school district, just like you indicated. So it's good to see it happen in real life. So thank you. Anything further on your administrative report?
Nothing, Mayor.
Okay. Let's see. The Tigard City Council is now going to go into executive session to review and evaluate the job performance of a public office or employee under ORS 192.660 subsection 2I. No executive sessions may be held for the purpose of taking any final action or making any final decision. Executive sessions are closed to the public. The council will adjourn immediately after the executive session. And with that, we are recessed. Good night, Tigard.
Good night, Tigard.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.